for stopping by the channel. My name's Leah, and we are going to recap and review Growing Up Hip Hop. This is season 6, and I think this is episode 28. I think it is. So let's get into the video. I know it's a lot going on. Like, it is a lot going on. Stay informed. But if you need to take breaks from social media or from watching the news, don't beat yourself up for doing that. As someone who is an anxious person, I've had to take many breaks this week because it's also midterms week and I have test anxiety. And then with what's going on in the world right now, it's a lot. So I have been learning that it's okay to take breaks. So yeah, take your break. But I didn't mean to start the episode like that, but it really wasn't much this episode. It starts off, well, let's get into the episode. Let me pick up my energy right quick. The episode kicks off, and it wasn't really much. Honestly, this episode could be broken down into 3. Is it 3? Yeah, 3. TT's wedding, the situation with JoJo and Denise, and then the situation with Eric and what's her name? Eric and Lazy Bones. But it opens up and we see TT. They have just gotten to the hotel. It's a nice venue. Sean has just flown in from Jamaica. We see her sister there, and TT is she freaking out. She freaking out. She's stressed out. She just wants her wedding to be wonderful, and I think a lot of people are like that. And it's not just, honestly, I don't think it's just women. I think some men can be that way, and then everybody else in between, people in general. Like if it's a day that you find is significant in your life, you just want it to be wonderful and perfect. Just like when people have like promotion ceremonies or like memorials, you just want it to go off without a hitch, and it seems like things are not working that way. We do know she decided to have her wedding in Florida because I guess it was easier for everyone to get to Florida instead of going to Jamaica, mainly because the panorama, and not wanting to get her grandma, who she desperately wanted to be at her wedding, sick. So Sean is tired. We found out he'd been up since, I think, like he said, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and he just want to lay down somewhere and go to sleep. He fell asleep on one of the couches in the hotel. TT is like scrambling, trying to find, I guess, the paperwork for her marriage license so they can sign it. She's being nitpicky and bickering with Sean, just being annoying. But I also understand she's stressed out, but like she got to cold her attitude. The sister's sitting in the back of the car because they end up like leaving. I guess the baby with her mom is there, and she's going with them. And the sister's just in the back, like awkwardly, like listening to them bickering back and forth. And I wish she would have said something, because I know if it was my sister and her like soon to be husband, I'd have been like, can y'all chill out? Like, we're going to get things done. Everyone's tired and freaking out, but I don't want to hear all of this. I'd have been that way. But they're just arguing back and forth. She thinks he's being mean. He thinks she doing too much. He started looking up things about communication, talking about he's nonverbal communication and she's verbal communication. And the truth of the matter is, she's just stressed out and she wants her wedding to be wonderful and perfect, just like a lot of people want things that they have put money into to be wonderful and perfect. So then we switch over and we see the Simmons is Vanessa, Angela, and JoJo. Mind you, I don't know what like Angela had on. It was like some biker leopard print stuff. It was like leather, and then it had like blocking of leopard print. And I was like, Angela, where are you going? What were we doing? Like, genuinely, what were we doing? Like, where was you going, sis? Because they're at a sneaker store, just looking at like purchasing sneakers, and I'm like, I am confused because it was really like biker-esque, and it was like a whole. So like I said, the top is cheetah and it's like a crop top. Then she has, I think like, it looks like safety pins with the huge safety pins. And I know that's in style, so I'm not even worried about that. Then she has like leopard pants, but the leopard pants are like leopard and yellow, but her top was like leopard and orange. It was confusing. They're talking to her about, JoJo is asking them questions about Denise. Honestly, on my last video, I felt like JoJo was kind of in the right, because I don't like being stood up. Like, I would feel some type of way, especially if I did the right things to get you care. There was no reason why Tanisha should have stood him up. Like, you could have told him well before then that you did not want to attend these salsa classes, instead of having him go there and then come up with some excuse to where it's like, oh, I had nothing to wear. Like, girl, no. But in this moment, he was being an asshole, because he's like, she's not worried about us. And I'm like, okay, bruh, she had a baby like 4 months ago. Her hormones, her body, she didn't really want to have the baby, but I think she felt like she needed to, because that oftentimes happens to women, where when they have a miscarriage and they try again, or they just have casual sex with their partner and they end up getting pregnant, there's a part of them that feels wrong to have a miscarriage, not to have or to not proceed with having the baby, because it's like, okay, I wanted this one, and it like I wanted to conceive or have this child at this moment, but it didn't work out, but now I'm pregnant and maybe I don't want to have it. But there's a feeling of guilt because you feel like you can't do that, or you feel wrong for doing it. Well, he don't get it. He don't get it, or he's trying to get it. He just feels like they're drifting apart and it's all about the kids. And he's like, I don't want it to be that way. He also doesn't want to get a divorce because he's a product of divorce, and he doesn't want his kids to be a product of divorce, which is understandable, but he's being a brat. Like, he lacks communication skills. And so does Denise, because it's like, neither one of them are saying what needs to be said. And if they really wanted their relationship to like truly work out, then it would be time for them to sit down and have a realistic conversation about how they're both feeling at this moment. I just don't get it. Then we see Eric. Mind you, I've never seen Eric without like plaits in his hair or braids. Well, no, it'd be braids. And like, he got a full little bush. And so I thought he was like getting an edge up or something, but like, no, he's just getting his beard shaved. We end up seeing his business partner. I think the man's name is Big A. And then we see his uncle, and they basically telling on little lazy bones. They weren't happy about the documentary, just like Eric wasn't happy about the documentary about his father. And his business partner, Big A, was like, well, Lazy was in there. And Eric's like, pause, what you mean? And Eric's like, I just had a conversation with him and he ain't say nothing. So what you mean? So Eric is kind of like feeling slighted and and betrayed, because he's like, you're supposed to be my friend, my brother. Like, you've known me since I was 13, 14. And why didn't you tell me about this when I already told you I didn't want this documentary to come out? Like, why didn't you say anything? So Eric's like, man, I got to talk to Lazy Bone. And they are back in Florida. Tyran has finally made it to the hotel to get ready for the wedding, and we see Sean getting his hair cut. Sean looked like a straight up white man with that comb over, like, just I was like, oh yeah, you're white. I mean, it's never, we know he white, but definitely like in his confessionals, he gives like thugged out white a little bit, like spicy white, but like, bruh, you white. But his friend Jordan, who was like doing his haircut, that's a good looking man. That is a good looking man. I was like, oh, he cute. Okay, Jordan, he cute. But they have a discussion. Tyran is there, and Tyran is what's it called? Sean brings up Pep in Egypt, and Tyran was like, oh, I told them to crash, and Sean was like, no, that would not be good. And I understand where Tyran is coming from, wanting his family to be back or be as close as they used to be. But it's like a lot of things happen. And also, I feel like he takes on too much. Like, okay, you voice to your mom, you want mom and sister, you want her to work it out with with TT. And you did that with TT. You told TT you wanted her and your aunt and cousin to work it out. But I feel like they have to want it. Like, just because you say it doesn't mean like they will do what you say. And it seems like he can't grasp that concept, because when he talked to TT, I think a few episodes back, I was like, bro, let it go. If she don't want to talk to them, she don't want to talk to them. And he's talked to his mom, and his mom is like not willing to like apologize because she feels like the ball is in TT's court. And you went and talked to TT, and TT said the door was closed. In my Nini's voice, the door is closed. So it's kind of like you can't keep pressing the issue. So then we get back to LA and we see Aaliyah, which is Eric's wife. What's her name? Vanessa, and we see Tanise. Y'all, there's something about this whole discourse between JoJo and Tanise that is very it's believable, but it also feels fake. Because when they did that flashback, I couldn't tell if the flashback was like from later seasons or like what's currently going on. Because she's sitting in her robe, in her good cheetah print robe, with like tissue in her hand, talking about where you been all night. And he was like, I was at the studio. And she was like, why are you coming late back from the studio? And why? And then like when he was trying to explain to her, she was like, I don't want to know what you do in the studio. I'm tired of hearing about the studio. And I'm like, well, if that's his job, of course he's going to come home and talk to you about his job. And I just feel like, honestly, this could be solved if they really have the funds and the financial means, the way they act like they do, then it's time for y'all to hire a nanny. Clearly, Tanise does not like staying at home by herself with the kids, and she wants to be doing other business ventures. Then allow her to do that. Go get a nanny and work on that. But I also feel like she's acting like she can't do that herself. There's too many women, too many women who are able to who have multiple kids and are still having careers. It's like if she really wanted to do that, she could do that. I think it could be deeper, where she might be struggling. She might have postpartum depression. But it's like nobody is talking. She feels like she's drifting apart from her husband, and their arguments are getting worse. He says the same thing, but it's like, I don't know if they're really sitting down, and maybe they are sitting down, but they're not getting any clarity. Maybe somebody needs to, they need to go to a mediator or actually go to counseling, because they're both saying the same thing. He's saying, she's all about the baby. She's not about us anymore, and I want us to, not lose that. She's saying the same thing where she's like, I'm all about my kids, but I feel like I'm drifting apart from my husband, and I'm overwhelmed, and I don't want to drift apart from him. I don't want a divorce. And then you got Vanessa sitting at the table and Aaliyah about to cry because Tanise is crying. And then Vanessa's like, no, my brother has changed and became a better person since he's been with you. He just feels like you don't have time for him. And she starts to crying. And I'm just like, hire a nanny. Because it's not like JoJo didn't put in effort. Like, we saw him last episode put in effort. He did a date night because you said you didn't want to be stuck at the house, but then you didn't want to leave your child. And it's like, if he keeps doing things to show that he's here for you and he wants to do these things and you don't want to leave your kid, then ultimately that's you. And there's nothing that he can do other than you probably might be suffering from postpartum and you need time to legitimately heal, and it's time to go to therapy. That's the only way I see it. The next scene we see is Eric and Lazy Bones. They basically have a conversation about the whole documentary, and Lazy don't like the fact that little Eric said, I felt betrayed, or it felt like a betrayal. And Lazy said, oh, that's a bit much. That hurts. And basically what Lazy just didn't want to tell Eric, because Lazy was like, I didn't feel right telling Eric at the grave site about being a part of the documentary. But I was like, you could have told him. But I guess I can give grace a little bit to Lazy, where he thought everybody in the family was somewhat okay with it. He said his Eric's sister and mom reached out to Lazy. So Lazy just felt like he thought he was helping the family. He also said he didn't know what was going to be a part of the documentary. They just asked him to say some things, and so he said things. So it's not confirmed whether, because the thing is, I'm an avid watcher of documentaries. They could have just had Eric come and, not Eric, but Lazy come and speak about how, Eazy-E created Thug Bones. Is it Bones? I said Thug. I was about to say Thug Bones and Heart. Is it Thug and Heart? The group that he was a part of. I can't get the name right now. And that could have been just the earlier part of the episode, just talking about the legacy that Eazy-E has created by creating a rap group, like a really well-known rap. Can't get my words right, y'all. A really well-known rap group. But that doesn't mean Lazy was a part of the part where they talk about the conspiracy about Eazy-E's death. So I can kind of give him some type of grace, but he still should have just told him at the when they were at the gravesite, because I feel like it makes you look at someone some type of way when you got to hear from other people, like you were a part of something when y'all had a conversation prior about said event or said situation. So we switch back to Florida. We see everybody getting there. We meet Twist and his cute little girlfriend. We see Tanise and JoJo get there. We also see Brianna get there. And she make a beeline for the bar. And then we see these cute little photos with the baby with Leif. I was called her Vanessa. Leif, TT, and Sean. They were probably their marital photos. They were really cute. And before, the festivities begin, so because after Sean and TT took their pictures, they were like, we got to part ways for the night, because this is actually the night before the party. So then we see, what's their names? JoJo and Twist having a conversation. JoJo is happy that they finally get to meet Twist's girlfriend. I think her name is like Maya Chun. If I said her name wrong, I apologize. But she, Twist was just like, I'm really serious about her. I didn't want to bring her around. They've been dating for almost like a year, or they have been dating for a year. He got the girl's name tatted on his back. You got JoJo saying he's glad to meet her. He was like, I felt the same way about Tanise. I realized she was a real one. And he was like, I hope this wedding sparks something between us where we don't forget each other, they love or whatever. So, like I said, TT and Sean separated for the night so they could turn up with their friends. And this is what the bachelorette party and the bachelor party was supposed to be. That dry-ass bachelorette party that was thrown by the Simmonses and Cree. This is what it was supposed to be. Like this right here. Sean over here dancing drunk as a skunk, excited to be around his friends he hasn't seen since the beginning of the Panasonic. You got Tyran down there. You got, what's his name? Twist and JoJo. They all drinking, screaming, laughing, taking shots. And Sean enjoying himself with the cousins. Like TT's cousins will soon be his cousins. You got TT up there in the room with her friends. They drinking, they dancing. They're having a good time. Then there was a moment, but like a sweet moment between Brianna and TT, where Brianna was like, I looked at the forecast. It said it was going to be rain, but that's not a bad thing. She was like, rain is to wash things away and begin anew. And they hugged and they were so happy. And then Brianna left and TT was like, girl, where you going? And she went down to go to the bar. She told Sean how much she loved him and how happy she was for them. And then we see that there's something between one of TT's cousins. And they all buddy. And I'm looking at Brianna. And Brianna said in her confessional she was going to give him some. I said, Brianna, stop. But she had met the man at another party. Like at a party that TT had thrown. But that's her cousin. And he cute. But he looked like he with it. Because he was flirting real hard with Brianna. And she wasn't stopping him. So they might have did some things. So then Tanise, we go back to the women, and Tanise is talking about how, like, they were like, if anybody want to give her encouragement, the makeup artist says, does anybody want to give TT any encouraging words who's here married? Tanise basically said, fights when you're married are different. They come a little harder, but don't forget that you two love each other. Remember the love that you have. So Sean is drunk as a skunk. He over here dancing and everything, having a good time. So it's the next morning and it is raining. It is raining cats and dogs. And they have this ugly red tent, which I was like, y'all ain't have a black tent? Shoot, even a white tent. Not this big, ugly red tent. I did like the wedding, like I don't know if she was the wedding planner of the hotel or the organizer, but she was in charge of everybody. She was like, everybody lined. She was like, line up, get here, get here. Why? She told TT, walk down that aisle, be happy, be beautiful, walk. And I said, okay. She said, everybody get it together. Yes. I said, okay, wedding planner. She was not playing. But TT is upset. She was like, she don't want to get married underneath that tent, which is understandable because I wouldn't either. And plus the tent was raggedy because it was so much. I don't know if that water was there before they put up the tent or if even with the tent, water was seeping underneath the tent. And it was like massive puddles. And I wouldn't want to get married underneath that. She's upset. She also was supposed to get like a facial and it like made a burn mark on her cheek. So she was feeling self-conscious about that. And she basically was like, nothing is going the way I want it to go, and she's just like really upset. And like, she's trying to be positive, but like, she was like, everything's getting the best of her. And once they were done doing the rehearsal, because today, that's the day, like it's raining this hard on the day of the wedding. She goes up, she just like starts crying. Like she's distraught. We see Sean follow after her. Like I guess he was dropping off stuff. And he was like, baby, what's wrong? And she was crying in the bathroom. And this is when I realized like they really do have love for each other. Because the way he consoled her, I was like, okay, Sean. He was like, I will marry you no matter what. And she was just like, nothing's going right. Like nothing is going right. And he was like, I'll put a burn mark on my face. We can both have band-aids underneath our cheeks and be like Nelly. And he was hugging her. He was like, I love you. And she was like, yeah. He was like, who loves you? And she said, God. And he was like, if he loved you, I don't think he would let it rain. And it made her laugh. I laughed. And it was cute. And she just said, okay, I'm going to get it together. I'm just going to take a nap before the wedding. But I hope it seems like the day went well because the pictures I've seen, she looked pretty walking on the beach with him. But like, I just thought it was cute the way he consoled her. But yeah, y'all, that was the whole episode. Like, it wasn't really much. Supposedly, it's supposed to be an explosive episode. Next episode, I didn't see the trailer or the preview for next episode, so I don't really know what's about to happen next episode. I hope Pep don't show up because I'd be pissed. Like, lady, I ain't invite you here, so don't be here. That would be my attitude. But yeah, y'all, that's it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. And drop down in the comments below and tell me what your thoughts are. Bye.